Snehal, this is the time. How does it feel right now to be Snehal?
I'm excited. I'm super excited to be on the podcast basically. And as I said, this is just the only second time I have been on the podcast. But thank you for the opportunity and thank you for having me. And I'm really excited to dive in the conversation. I have born and brought up in India, a small town, and my father, he's a gynecologist, and he, like, my passion to the medicine has been influenced by him. I have seen him dedicate his career, entire career to patient care, and also with compassion, and especially, as I said, in rural India. So that has inspired me to pursue career in medicine. And I did my med school in India, followed by a residency in pathology in India. He did gynecology, but I was more, intrigued towards the basic science part of it, and that's the reason I chose to go in pathology. And after doing my residency in India, my life took a different turn, and I was like, okay, I want to learn more about this field and expand my expertise. So I landed up in United States, and when I just came, I I did a little bit of research. I came as a research scholar, and I did research in corneal neurobiology lab, and my research was mainly involved in dry eye disease, and mechanisms of dry eye disease, and it was more of a translational type of research. And believe me, it was completely different. I used to read what is a PCR in books in India. I never got first-hand experience to do or see what PCR is. And here, literally, I was doing all the bench work and seeing all those technology working in play. So yeah, that was incredible experience, led to some publications and some groundbreaking research. I think the financial dependence part, as you said, I was really very focused on my career, really very focused, and never thought much about financial independence. I think I really started thinking about it when I got into my private practice and started getting real salary check. I'm okay, I want to now look into how I can be financially stable, think about retirement and all of those things. And it, I think it's kind of not fair that we have never been taught formally about investment portion or how to do financial management. And I'm still in really very learning phase of it. I think retrospectively, I should have started a little bit earlier. But yeah, it's never too late, right? I think that perspective came in from when I was doing residency. We got our first house. It is just apartment, but that's where we always lived. And the reason to buy apartment was during that time. Again, it comes from my cultural thing. When I first came to United States, I was in apartment. It was a rental. And they were like, okay, you cannot put nails down in the wall, or you cannot paint this color to this wall. And I'm like, it's just maybe I always lived in my own house back home, and it was just I don't know how to explain. It was just nothing I thought of I cannot paint my wall with my color of liking. So that's why I'm okay, we are buying a house, I can't be like this. And that's when we bought apartment, a small apartment, just 2 bedroom. And when I was doing residency, just that's what we were using. And then now we bought a bigger house now with the kids and family growing up. And we did not sell up that apartment, we are renting that apartment. And I'm like, okay, you know what, this is a passive income, like it's, and we paid up that apartment. So I'm like, okay, yeah, oh, this is something we should have done, like, you know, you are more vigorously. And it gives a passive income. And I think that that perspective is coming from that experience. And that's the reason I think, you know, real estate would be something good to think about as a passive income. I think, you know, start saving for yourself first, pay yourself first. Like, you know, I always, like, whenever my paycheck comes in, I always make sure that, like, you know, I put given amount in my a separate account, like it just goes and saves there. And that's easiest, I think, thing to do. And just forget about it, or, like, you know, put it in like CD or put somewhere where it grows automatically and you don't have to look at it. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Otherwise, if we just see a lot of money and we start doing stuff, you know, then that's the first. Second one, I guess, I think, start looking into, like, if you have a good sum of money which is saved, start looking into, like, you know, smaller investments, like buying apartment or something like that. I think it's kind of scary at times just to, like, go into real estate investment and all, but I think it's not that bad. I think the systems over here are pretty straightforward and pretty transparent.
But what would you tell that person who's maybe 5 years earlier than where you're at right now in regards to real estate or investing?
Take risks.
Take a risk. Interesting.
Yeah, take a little bit more risk than what you, like, you know. I think looking back, like, you know, we just do too much planning, and, like, we want to, like, you know, have like a tight boundary, like, oh, I want to have this after this after this. And I think a little bit, I wish I would have taken a little bit more risk. I still would have like survived, like, you know. We always go into that, like, perfect survival mode, and, like, you know, do not want to have I guess more risk. That restricts our growth.
Yeah. And that is, like, the personality trait of a physician, of a medical professional, is to mitigate as much risk as possible. So it's interesting that and I hear it a lot, we've got to take risk. We've got to take action, you know, in order to get there.